Hello. Hello, 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 hello. So when you get here, just let me know that you're here. I would love us to have a slow chat, just getting to know where you're at, how you feel. It's been a while, okay? So I'd love to hear from all of us. I would love us to share the different experiences for some of us that are coming out to do the different things in our lives, for some of us that feel empowered, for some of us that feel strong, for some of us that are running the race. Yes, I would love us to share this moment, and I want it to be as interactive as possible. Yes, I'll pass on some information, but again, I would love us to be to come on quickly. Yes, introduce yourself, mention which group you come from, and then let me know where are you at, exactly what are you doing, what's happening. Penny, good to have you. How are you doing? It's been a while. I guess you're really swamped with work, being that it's the close of the year, but I'm glad that you get to chip in here and there. You came in for the radio show, and you're able to liaise with fellow leaders and fellow participants on the mentorship, and fellow coaches, actually. Okay, so thank you. If you come on here, just give us a shout, a hi, and let us know where you come from. Joan Comfort, glad to be here from the Transformers. Good to have you. Jessica Freeman, good to have you as well. Let's spread the word. Please share the link so that the rest can know that we are here in the Transformers, Gladiators, World Changers. Brenda, good evening. Good evening, my dear. How are you doing? Good to have you here. So I want us to do a bit of questions as well, because I know that we are at different stages in life, different stages of actualization of finding ourselves or self-awareness, and we could use a hand here and there. Monica, good to have you. Glad to connect to from the Gladiators too. Yes, Monica is from the Gladiators too. Isabel Manzi, Isabella from Transformers. Good to have you, Isabella. Yeah, it's a great evening. It's been a while. It's been a while. Marie, good to have you from Gladiators too. It's been a minute. I love calling it a minute. Definitely with a lot of, swamped with a lot of work. The second half of the year is usually the busiest for me. And then when it comes to the last quarter of the year, oh my God, it becomes really, really crazy. But again, I thank God for the grace. I thank God for the strength. For those of you that know me, know that health-wise, I've been a bit down, but I've had the strength to keep going, and that's quite amazing. Jessica, good to have you from Transformers. I've had the strength to keep going, and in a calling as ours, if you want to be a coach, happy to see you. Sylvia Namabiru, good to have you here. In a calling as ours, the purpose that we were created for, you will find that you actually don't have time to, it's not really resting, because resting is a choice, but to just, chill and take a breath. You have to take that by force. Coach Zaitun, good to have you. Proud of you, Transformers. Nice to see you. Coach Zaitun, I'm really glad to see you. I've missed you. I really missed you. Molly Nalunga, good to have you from Freedom Seekers. Molly, your testimonies are amazing, amazing, amazing. How you found yourself, how you've discovered your purpose, how you've taken off the layers one by one. Great to have you. Arrived, KKTV, good to have you. Okay. So I was saying that if you choose a path of transformation, a path of impacting lives, a path of changing relationships, marriages, a path of changing the emotional status and the mental well-being of human beings, if you take on that path, my friend, so many things are going to come at you, and sometimes you're just not going to understand, okay, how things are going to beat you from side to side. But again, if you keep a straight face and if you keep focused. And this evening, I want to talk about being the end of the year. Most of us have run through the year and we are getting to a point where we feel we are tired and we can't wait for the holiday to actually come and kick in to save us from ourselves. But again, I just want to come and start with 2022 is going to be a great year. It's going to be a marvelous year, a miraculous year. It's going to be a mega year, but a mega year for only those that are going to have a powerful start, okay? Not the people that are going to have a kind of mediocrity or a mediocre's mindset and start. It's going to be great for people that are going to have a bang, or that are going to start with a bang. Now, how do you start with the bang if you have not taken time to breathe and to rest and to read up and to research and to engage and to pray, to network, as in the things that you need to do, everything that you need to do to position yourself. You realize you have right now until the end of the year. Okay, and when it clocks the end of the year, when people are celebrating, when people are, jubilating, yes, we jubilate because we still have life and we're thankful to God and we're grateful, and that is good. But how do we start next year? Now, for some of you that have just joined us, we want to hear from you. Okay, JM Kakembo, good to have you. And Brenda, the way you're strengthening me, only God knows. Thanks for the inspirational words. Good to have you. Nalwega Christine, you're saying you're from Freedom Seekers. Good to have you as well. Na Allen Mirembe, good to have you. Murunji Caroline Mwebaza, good to have you. And Saliman Tai Nantai, good to have you. I don't know, for whatever reasons, I usually read it as Ntai, and then when I'm writing it, I write it as Nantai. But maybe I'm just getting a short form for your name. But good to have you as well. I have seen your effort. I have seen your effort. I have seen how much you have pushed yourself. And tonight on radio, Tim and I were talking about social capital, and I realized that we have so many people on the mentorship, and I actually made a mention of it. We have so many people on this mentorship program, or on this platform. I like to call it platform of like-minded people, because some of us, it's not that you're an active participant, but some of us are in this because we are networking. We have a boost from our fellow coaches, and we have built a community of coaches from all kinds of niches that have discovered who they want to be and who they want to impact, and they are on that journey to make it happen in big ways. Now, there is no community better than a community of like-minded people that are heading the same direction, that have maybe not the same momentum, because some of you are running, some of you are flying, some of you are crawling, while some of you are limping, and it is okay. That is why I've usually said we set our own pace in this growth journey, because this is a journey to grow. This is a journey to learn. This is a journey to be the best versions of ourselves, okay? So it is okay at whatever pace you are walking, believe me, because when a plane wants to take off, it does not just go, in the sky. It doesn't happen like that. It will, go around. It will, be slow. It will, take time to turn and get to, to the runway. And when it gets to the runway, still, it will increase the speed. And after it gains momentum, that is when it goes up. Now, not all of us are going to be on the same pace. And I don't want you to get a headache when you see someone that is running ahead of you, okay? And again, I don't want you to run ahead of yourself. I want you to be able to realize where you are, appreciate where you are, put in more effort, and keep measuring your progress. Because if you run ahead of yourself, you are going to get tired and you are going to give up so quickly, okay? So I need to hear from you as well about questions. I know some of us have questions, and I would love for us to go through some of those questions. But before we go through the questions, there are certain things that crossed my mind when I was thinking about doing this live session with you, or having a live chat with you. And one of them was just a reminder. These are just subtle reminders, okay, that life is a battlefield. Life is a battlefield, and we might not get everything that we want, but everything we want, we will get it by fighting. Okay, we have to fight to get it. So simply put, it's not going to be on a silver platter. Simply put, I cannot do the work for you. You do the work for you. You might not hit the strides, the milestones that you want to hit all at the same time. But if you hit any milestones, it's going to be a battle to hit them. It's going to be a fight. And let me tell you, a good fighter loves a good challenge. I love challenges, okay? Because I'm like, bring it on. I don't know if I can do it, but I think I can do it, okay? It excites me. The adrenaline runs. And I'm like, I want to give it my best shot. I want to outdo myself. I remember when I just started speaking, I would take on speaking engagements that I had no business taking. Because in my heart, I was like, so if I don't take them, and I'm like, they are for the big motivational speakers or big speakers, and maybe I'm not big enough or I am not there yet. You know that belittling yourself and thinking I am not yet there. My friend, if a company came, I mean, I used to get weird requests. I call them weird because by then I was just starting, I was just getting a hold of this. I didn't even have someone who was already practicing to show me what exactly was happening. So I remember at a point, UN called me, and then you said, I got about 5 international organizations inviting me. And I remember in my heart, I used to be a coward, and I would be like, but I'm going to find big people. I'm going to find, people that are more educated than I am. I'm going to find, and then I would tell myself, relax. By the time they came to you, they have followed you and they know you have what it takes to actually deliver what they want. And so I would outdo myself. I would prepare myself. Some of them would even send their vehicles to come for me, like the UN to go, up north. They would send their vehicles. Some of them would buy tickets. And I would be like, but you know what? If I don't do it, then who is going to do it? Now, I was taking things, it was a fight for me, okay? And this actually leads me to, because some of these things that I keep telling us and sharing with us are the things that I have done in my life, and they have pushed me that I fear, and I've actually told this to you, and I think I should make a t-shirt out of it, that I fear, but I do it anyway, okay? I show up. Okay, I dress. I'm here on time. What can I do? Okay, and I'm here to serve. I'm here to to help someone, to help you create solutions. And let me tell you, it has worked 150% or 200% each time. That when I show up and I take on that microphone, I don't know what happens. I just lose the sense of time. I just and that is why I usually say, I don't know whether I should call it religion, but knowing God, because we all serve God. Knowing God is an added advantage, because to every place I went, I think I got like a rhema word or a timely word that even when I came prepared, when I met those people, my heart connected to them, and then I will deliver beyond what I prepared. Why? Because they are the people in the room. I see a need, and then you have to have a discernment in you, like real discernment. And I know some of us have had that sixth sense where we sense things, and you see a person's attitude before it's all shown to you. But in this arena of coaching, and I would love to hear your feedback, and I would love to know, okay, I'm getting the questions. I'm going to actually answer them. Okay, so in this arena, knowing God is an added advantage, okay? Having discernment is an added advantage. Respecting your gut feeling and your sixth sense is discernment. Actually, it was, I think today, the team was talking to me and telling me, okay, there is a client that booked, but this client wants us to do a house call. And I was like, Tim, I stopped doing house calls. I don't know, but I think 6 years ago, I stopped doing house calls. And there's this one incident that happened. This lady called in, because for house calls we charge a lot more, because we are going to come to your place, and we're going to leave the office maybe unattended to, or maybe we're not going to meet clients in such a time. So when it comes to house calls, we charge minimum of 500,000 for a session, and a follow-up session has to be online because we can't do multiple house calls. So I told her, she paid the money, and then I reached the day to actually go. I remember it was in Chanja. And so I reached Chanja, and because Tim was like, I can't let you go alone. I have to come with you. I'll stay in the parking if the person wants to have a private time with you. So this lady, I reached Chanja. I called the lady is not picking. And as I'm planning, I'm waiting, 30 minutes go by, and I'm planning to actually, we are planning to drive away. The lady calls. And when the lady calls, she sounds a bit weird. She directs me to the house. I go to the house, I knock, but I sense there's a bitter fight within the house, and she doesn't open. And so when she didn't open, I think it was a neighbor who actually told me that this lady actually had either a mental problem or something like that. But when she told me, I just withdrew from the house, walked back to the car, sat in the car, and walked away. And in my heart, I was like, okay, I was getting into a house call that I actually didn't know. I didn't know. Service is very hard. Coaching is very hard. Counseling is very hard. So I was like, I'm not going to do house calls anymore. I remember at one point there's an army man that pulled a gun on us, because this army man apparently had issues and didn't want to speak about them, but the wife was really dying and she was locked up in a gate, and we go and she pulled a gun on us. And I mean, we were like, you know what? We are going to leave you. We came here to help. And if you can't let us help, then there's nothing that we can do. So you realize that everything is through fighting, okay? Everything is marking your territory. But again, you have to have the discernment, and you have to have a sixth sense. You have to trust your gut feeling, and then you have to walk away from certain situations. Okay, so life is a fight for territory. We all know this. And fight for territory, unfortunately, these days, so many people do the same things. But again, I'm telling you this. No two people can do the same thing the same way. No two people can do the same thing the same way. So that means if you are able to do what you do in an exceptional way, if you are able to give your best, if you are able to know your niche, if you're able to bring your uniqueness to the situation or to the service or to the coaching arena, then you are fighting for a territory, but that territory is monopolized, because there's never going to be another Zaitun. There's never going to be another J.M. Kakembo. No one will tell a story like you tell. No one will speak like you speak. No one will talk about mental health like you speak about mental health. Let people think, like, people usually give me feedback and they're like, Bahati, when you're speaking, when you come to these, to different places where you're invited to speak, the moment you start speaking, number one, they usually tell me no one can be passive when they are listening to you. They either have to listen or listen. No one can be passive. Number two, there is a way you raise someone's goosebumps and you cause them to go into themselves, to think and reflect. I want to be the best versions of themselves. So you take a person on a journey and they want to walk with you and they want to actually better themselves. So it's a fight. Okay, so for some of you, kudos that are getting into this fight and of territory. It's real, especially in this generation. Back in the day, we were just finding ourselves. It was slow. No one knew what to do. But these days, you want anything, you can get it on Google. But again, Google and your mind and your God-given brain are two different things. How you deliver after reading from Google is too different from how you experience things. And for those of you that are doing Beyond Success with me, and I need more volunteers, by the way, I told you that we are going from explanation to experience. As coaches, as counselors, we are tired of explaining, and I am tired of the habit of us explaining to people and wanting them to understand and wanting them to know. We're giving them theory and we are feeding. No, let them experience what you are talking about. And in such a manner, they are never going to forget what you are teaching them or giving to them. So you let them experience it, okay? And you are marking your territory, and you actually want to make a fight and go till the end. Now, I'll keep mixing in some of the questions that we have here. Okay. Hey, Major Coach Gladiator Phase 1. I'm glad to share this space with you. I have 3 questions, Coach. How do you manage your day? How do you balance the areas of your life? Let's start with that. Okay, so how do I manage my day? How I manage my day is I visualize what tomorrow is going to be like. After this live session, I already have a calendar. I already have, if I have clients tomorrow, they're already booked in. The reminders have already been sent today, and they've already been, told to pay up to book the session. So we actually know those that are not going to show up. So we've already replaced them. And so what happens, I know my meetings prior because I know what meetings I have set for tomorrow. And then if I have any what would I call appointments, either doctor's appointments or something, I already know those. So I make sure that I schedule those things prior, and I write my it's not really a to-do list. For me, it's really a calendar most of the times. And then I usually choose my top 3 things to do. If I have any clients, I usually want to book them in the morning time. If I have any serious meetings, I want to do them in the morning time, because I am productive so much more in the morning between the hour of 7 and 1 p.m. And thereafter, I can do so many other things, but again, not maybe in my top 3 priorities. So I manage my day like that. And when you start managing your day, it becomes a routine, especially for the people that have bookings, meetings, because my life is mostly meetings, bookings, and then appointments. Meetings, bookings, and appointments. That's how I work. Meetings, bookings, engagements, appointments. That occupies my whole day. Now, even when I talk about I'm having a lunch with Tim, or I'm having a breakfast with him, I'm having those come in at different times. Why? Because we have access to each other most of the times. So we find ourselves doing meetings and doing something like that. But when it comes to, let me see, your second question was, how do I balance the areas of my life? My friend, I can't balance them. I am not a superhero and I'm not a superhuman. I cannot balance them. What I do is I create a harmony, okay? I know what my priorities are. I know that my family is my priority, and I know what time I have to be out of time in order to be home. So when I am home, and I know, because in the evening, as Tim goes to the gym, I come home straight to be with the children, because I know I want to play with them, give them enough time before they prepare for bed, or before they even have supper and prepare for bed. So to me, that is priority. It's blocked in and it cannot change. My Sunday is untouched, apart from some engagements that really can't wait. Okay, so I make sure that I create those balances, and then I learned to delegate so much, because I knew I couldn't do everything. In as much as I needed to do everything, I remember I usually tell a story. When I just got married, I thought, oh, I should be on the floor mopping, I should be scrubbing bathrooms, I should be doing everything like a good woman is supposed to, And then after that, my husband looked at me. I was like, why are you breaking yourself? And I was like, what do you mean? But some of these things, you can delegate them. You can have someone actually do them. I would actually prefer having more time with you than you being around the house like a headless hen. And I'm like, okay. So now I have to strike a balance, because then if my husband says that being with him is priority to him, then what am I doing running around? So I'm like, okay, house cleaning, that can be delegated. Cooking, some of the cooking can be delegated. Cooking for my husband, that I cannot give to anyone. I must do. So I balance. So I set my priorities. I set the things that I have to do myself, and then I know that the rest I have to delegate to other people, because I'm a working person, and my schedule is quite tight, and so I can't be everywhere doing everything. So I just make sure that I play around like that. You can look at your life and be able to also set a bit of harmony and peace, because you don't want to be overwhelmed again. And then you have to know the kind of person you're either married to, the kind of person you're staying with, or the kind of person, because sometimes we want to do things for people, and yet those people are not, don't have that kind of expectation, and so we are breaking ourselves, or we have actually not asked them what they need. So have that clarity of mind. What exactly does this person need? Okay, and how can I cater for them in my time and in everything, my schedule and everything that I am doing? So if someone's priority is actually sending them a message or being with them, or depending on their love language, make sure that you actually factor that in. So I've looked at my life and factored so many things in, but actually I try to minimize as much as possible so that I can have a breather and be able to think, because the kind of work I do, I have to make solutions, to make decisions on the go, and I have to have meetings on the go, and I have to, so if I don't have a straight mind, then I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to achieve anything. Okay, how can we develop our social media platforms? Now, developing social media platforms takes consistency. I will say it. Being consistent. Post, post, post. Do not mind whether who will say what, or people will say you're overposting, or people you say, but again, you have to find a niche. Okay, now when you find your niche, and you find that, okay, the coaching is wide, but I'm interested in particularly, and I will give an example of Roihana, and well, I mean, so many of us here have found actually our niches. Rihanna deals with children, and everything she posts will be in line of children. Coach Zaitun posts about relationships, and you will not fail to read her lengthy posts. Why? Because they make sense, okay? And you will definitely. Coach Marjorie does about finance and personal growth, and you will clearly see that that is where she flows. So you're not everywhere. You're not supposed to be doing everything. Concentrate on your niche, and then after finding your niche, then find the categories that fall under your niche, and make sure that you ask yourself, and this is very crucial. This is very crucial. Some of us, when we get to know our niche, that we want to deal with relationships, then we get the hardest of topics, and then we want to write about them on social media. And then people peruse through and they don't like it and they go away. Why? Because people don't like to be stressed. Actually, people like things that are straight to the point, or things that their ears are itching. Now, we are not going to give them, remember, I told you, if you're speaking, you speak, you're giving them, you're delivering, you're serving them, you're giving them what they need, not what you think they need. Now, that is what we should have in mind, okay? Not what we think they need. We give them what they need, okay? Now, as you give them what they need, there is always the solid food and the hard food that you slide in somewhere. For example, when you on your speaking engagements, on your videos, on your posts, because people have to know what kind of person are you. There is someone who put up a poster about marriage something, a marriage seminar, and then someone was texting me to ask me, is this person actually married? So do you see how people get skeptical? They don't know that she is married, and so they're looking at her with eyes that are weird, and so they're like, we can't even attend her event, we can't even go to her seminar, okay? But what you have to do is you have to balance your real life. I know some of us are really running away from that. You have to balance a bit of your real life, and then you have to balance with what you are giving them, because the moment you overfeed them with information about relationships, about children, about about what, and then you can't relate it to your own life, okay? You can't even give an example of your husband. You can't even put up a picture with your husband or with your children, or you can't put up a picture if you love catering and that's part of your niche. You can't even put up pictures while you're cooking, even at home, even in your, with your sigiri, not necessarily a cooker, but with your sigiri. People want to relate with real human beings. They don't want to relate with robots. So the moment you make yourself human, you humanize yourself in order to be accepted and get into people's lives. Okay, so you speak sense. For example, when you find, and how I started to discover what people really wanted and needed, I started listening to the problems that people have. I would look around for problems on social media, problems on radios, problems in newspapers. So I knew that, okay, if this person has a problem and has this question, that means there are millions of people that have the same question. So I would make sure that I handle it in a certain way. For those of you that have followed me, I write a whole article and magazine. I write long posts. But again, people will tell me, my friend, I read until the last dot and I still want to read. Why? Because it's something to do with my life. Okay? It's something that I relate with. Okay? So, there you are, my friend. Sarah, good to have you. Good evening, my people. Good evening, Dr. Hilda. Nice seeing you. Looking great as always. Thank you. Okay. I want to go back to the question. How do you develop your platforms? Make sure that you're consistent. Make sure that you follow what I just said. Humanize yourself and let people be relatable with. Don't sound like a superhero, a super motivational speaker. No, be human, that even when you have some failures, you are able to share them. That makes you human. That makes you relatable with. That makes you lovable. And that makes you actually, it makes you an inspiration, because they're like, if she made it with her story, then I can make it. If she did it, then I can did it. Okay, so that's be consistent, my friend. Good evening, friends. That's Evangelista. Good to have you. Freeman, you're saying, how do you deal with people who get in touch just because they admired your page? Like there is no business to handle. Okay. Now, when someone says hi, I usually have a generic message that I send to them. Because on my business line, I don't expect people to say hi. Yeah, hi. And you've seen so many people say hi, and then tomorrow they say hi, and then the other day they say hi. Then I definitely know that person has nothing good to say. Because if you were a client, or if you wanted to book a session, if you had an issue that you want to help with, if you said hi the first place, the next sentence you would say what you need, because I'm not an angel to read it. Okay, and you will see this when you become even busier, like you will start sieving through. So when someone contacts you because your page was good and they were blessed, just say them, I appreciate your kind feedback, and you stop at that. If they write a hi next time, make sure that you respond with a hi, because again, you don't have anything, or you actually respond with a generic message that shows that welcome to so and so, if your business has a name, or if your coaching practice has a name, and you're like, if you need help, we are available. And maybe this kind of help, we stipulate the kind of help that you offer. And then you stipulate, if you have the prices, you stipulate that for us, an individual session, this much. These days we have Zoom sessions. So actually my card has phone session, it has Zoom sessions, and then it has office sessions. And Zoom sessions for individual and for a couple, different pricing. And then office session for an individual and a couple, that is the same. A phone session, that is for individuals. And then I state the prices, so you don't have to ask so many questions. I have put everything down. So in case you really want business, you'll be like, okay, I prefer, the sentence will be, I prefer an office session. When can we have it? And then I'll be like, okay, let me check my calendar and get back to you. So do you see, there is that free flow of someone who is serious, wanting to book or wanting your services, or something. But again, there is always someone being stuck because they saw your page and people want to deal with with people who are either public figures or they have seen you somewhere, and then they're like, hi, and then you say hi, and then they say hi. If you do that, I don't respond. I am sorry. It's not being rude, but again, I don't have business of exchanging highs with you if you don't know what you if you don't know what you want, because I don't have the time anyway. I literally look for time to respond to messages. These days I've been responding to messages, a backlog of messages, because last week I was not around. So, and I had back-to-back engagements. So this week, when after coming back, I had to I go back through the backlog of the messages. Now, just tell me, if you keep writing hi, 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 hi 6 times, that I will have the guts to respond to you. I will not have the guts to respond to you. So create the generic messages so that people know what you offer and how they can get in touch and what you charge and how they can actually get your services. So if you send it to someone first time when they say hi, if they don't mean business, they're not going to respond. Okay? But if they mean business, they are going to respond. They are going to respond and ask how to proceed from there. Okay, Hilda, I want to see. Hello, dear coach. Here to thank you and coach team. The topic of social capital was for me. I was blessed. Oh, thank you, Rohana. Thank you. Experience is everything. Yes. Glad to be here. I can never get enough of you. Gladiator cohort 1, that is Christian Steele. Marjorie Nantam, be following closely. Jessica, what do you post in case you haven't zeroed down on the niche? Now, I'm glad you asked this question because it bothers so many people, and we've never gotten time to actually address it. What do you post in case you have not found your niche? Now, how we find our niche and our purpose, most times those are the things that are calling to us. They become like the shiny, what should I call them? Shiny objects, like they are really inviting. For example, there is a certain line of information that you look for. Whenever you go on Google, you're searching about something in that same line. Whenever you read posts and you get to a post that is talking about that particular thing, maybe relationships, it really consumes your brain. Okay, now you are really interested and passionate about that particular area of discussion. Now you will find yourself looking for quotes. You'll find yourself reading people's articles and just paraphrasing a summary for yourself. You will be looking for information in that line. Okay, I remember when I just started and I didn't know what a niche was, and so, but one thing that really called out to me so much was relationships. And relationships, because I had a hurting in my life about my life and my family and how broken it was and all that. And I think for me, I was just finding answers. So I read more about relationships. And I remember when I started posting, there is a certain man in France who actually contacted me and told me, Hilda, are you heartbroken? And I remember I laughed in my heart. I even didn't know why they were asking. But I was like, no, I am not heartbroken. And so, okay, they're like, but the things that you post look like you're heartbroken. And I think this person actually wanted to hit on me or something like that. But I just didn't give them time, because every time I had on, and by then I was just using a computer desktop, every small time I had was to either, read about relationships. I didn't know what I was doing. Now, it's later that I find out that actually that was one of my primary niches. And I loved to do that with all my heart. Now, when you are invited to something and you like something, you find yourself posting in line with that something. If it's about relationships, or it's about children, or it's about cooking, or it's about the content that actually helps you. Back then there was not even so much content, because I didn't know who was doing it in the world. In Uganda, I saw no one doing it. So I was just mumbled. I just had friends on Facebook, so I didn't see what anyone was posting. But for me, whenever I found something about relationships, that would intrigue me. And then I would go either paraphrase something and write small quotes and do something like that. So I want you to critically look at your life and find yourself. What are you interested in? What are you passionate about? What makes you stop? For example, you are scrolling on your phone and scrolling, and then all of a sudden something comes up and you're like, it takes your attention and you're able to read the whole chapter. The reason as to why you're able to read it is because you are interested and it has caught your attention. So I want you to look out for what catches your attention, because then you can post in that line meanwhile as you find yourself. Okay, okay, let's see. Zero down on a niche. Sarah, good to have you as well. Matsuko Alan, greetings, gladiators too. Musibia Mutiabalala. Thank you, coach. Good to have you, Alan. Monica, that is Muturu. Maturu, you're saying, how can I find the niche out of many? Now, finding your niche just the same way I have explained. It's something that you reach out to, that you long for, that you are really interested in. And I would want you to take that as an assignment and look deep inside of your heart. What are you really interested? Look at the people you follow on social media. Look at the people that you mostly like their content, okay? Look at the YouTube videos you usually watch. Look at the material that interests you. What quotes have you been reading? What catches your mind? I want you to be able to critically look at them, because most times we are invited and attracted by who have a blinking screen. Please let me know just in case you're able to see me clearly. I need to be able to know. Hello. Okay. Okay, where did I stop? Christine, exactly, must be human. And then, yes. Monica, I gave you a response, the things that you're drawn to. Sorry about that. How can I find? Okay, exactly, we must be human. Lavender, hello, Coach Bahati, happy to see you. Greetings from Transformers. Jessica, I need support on page setup, and settings recommendations will be much appreciated. Jessica Freeman, please get to my inbox. I'm going to make sure that I recommend ways how you can do that. Thanks for the feedback. Please, Jessica, do that. And Annette Nahabwe, sorry. Glad to be here. Freedom Seekers, Alan Mirembe, Coach, if possible, please upload the social capital message on YouTube. I'll make sure that I do that. The book, okay, that religion is just a widespread myth, and that is believed by a large of people that gather together and fight against dangers. Is that right? Okay, the book, okay, says religion is just a widespread myth that is believed by a large number of people, so they come together to fight against dangers. I wouldn't define it like that, but again, I wouldn't go into defining what a religion is. One thing I believe is we have organized religions, and then we have the different people that just believe in God and want to worship God. Now, if the choice of deciding whether it's true or untrue, or whether it's believable or not believable, that really remains to an individual. And I don't want to tamper with that, because it's a very sensitive subject to most of us. Nasmaya in class, thank you so much, Coach, for the wonderful words. I can't see you. Okay, can you see me, network? Sometimes I think I'm really passionate about something, but after some time I lose interest in that. Okay, now that is very very okay. In the process of finding yourself, you're going to fall in love with things, and then after some time maybe you can fall out of love with them. That is very normal, and I don't want you to be discouraged because of that. Okay, don't be discouraged because of that. When you're discouraged about something, or when you fall out of love with something, make sure that when you go on to another thing, you also give it your whole. Now, after you have gone through the levels, that happened to me. I went through the many levels because I would see people doing something and I would be like, maybe financial thing is, the in thing. Maybe, and that way, those were the years of self-discovery. And then I would see something else and I would be like, maybe motivational speaking is the in thing. And then I would go that line. But after some time, I came to realize that, by the way, my foundation and my first cut, let me tell you, the ulala is just people jump from a relationship to another relationship. Now, your first cut, or the thing that persists the most, that is what you should be able to take. Do not be wary and do not be discouraged if you keep jumping from one niche to another. Don't be discouraged. Just like you will name yourself a mentor coach, and then you will go into a financial coach, and then you will go into relationship coach, and then you will go. Don't be discouraged by that. You are still adventuring, and you are still curious about them all. But let me tell you, the right one, you will settle with it. And sometimes it will be your first cut, and you'll be like, all along, I have gone and wandered and wandered and wandered. It will be like a return of a first love. So I don't want you to be worried about that as well. Just to get on board, what's the meaning behind the different group names? Say gladiators, freedom seekers, etc., just for me to relate well. Okay, now these are really to define us and differentiate us, because we have different cohorts, okay, and different intakes. So we had gladiators, number one, and we got world changers, number two, and we got, because again, I want us to be in groups that can be supervisable and that can easily be monitored. I don't want to monitor a whole group of 100 people or 200 people. But if I segment into 20s or 30s, then I'm able to monitor you and even know your name, know your performance, follow you up, and be able to actually see that there's value that you get out of this mentorship. So that is why we got these names, so that we can differentiate and then have also create leaders, because part of what we are doing is also leadership training. So we create leaders for every group. Gladiators too, you've not yet selected your leaders. We're still on with this. But again, it helps us to actually have people that monitor us and encourage us, and we build on that, and people that challenge us, and people that call us out and remind us of why we joined the mentorship, and that we can only do in small groups, not in very huge groups, because then if you become a backbencher or lag behind, no one will remember. But if it's a small group and your class president actually says, you know what, you've kept quiet for a long time, what's happening? Some people during COVID were too sick. Some people, you lose their loved ones. Some people go through a lot of like a job loss, and they're in the middle of the mentorship, and all they need is a hand for someone to hold and tell them that, you know what, it's okay, we will finish this. Talk to really is doing that. But I want to be able to conclude. If you have any more questions, please bring them on board, but I want to conclude, okay? And this part of the conclusion I want us to have is, as a speaker, because most of us are speakers. I mean, if you're a coach, you really have to be a speaker. If you're a counselor, you have to be a speaker. If you are a mentor, you have to be a speaker. Like, you cannot dodge speaking. But now we speak to disrupt people's thoughts. People have thought patterns and emotional patterns that have been built over time. And so when you come to speak, you are interrupting those thought patterns so that they can create new thought patterns in order to create a better life for themselves. Now, if you can't do that, then you're not doing the job. So make sure that for each one of us that will show up anywhere, be it on radio, be it on TV, be it with just one person, you want to disrupt their thought processes. You want to disrupt where they are and what has been built in them for a long time. And then you're able to bring them on board, not to think for them, but to tell them that, you know what, dig deeper, there are answers within you, and you can actually be a much better person. So to all the speakers, radio, on TV, in counseling sessions, with friends that you're speaking to, make sure that you are a disruptor, okay? Make sure that you are a disruptor. Otherwise, if you do not disrupt my thinking abilities and my mental capabilities, then you have no reason to speak to me. You actually have no reason. Some of us have looked at people speaking and we're like, oh, what are they saying? Oba, we've had that. Oba, that is a cliche. That is why people don't want to listen to no more things. But there is nothing new that we are going to speak. But it's how we speak it, the authority with which we speak it, that is going to disrupt someone. And they'll be like, wait a minute. The reason I am poor is not because my family was poor, but it's because of my failure to make up my mind about what I want. It's my lack of clarity. I have stayed at the crossroads for too long. So you make them question themselves and their decisions, and then they're able to make sober decisions going forward to actually live a better life. So if you cannot do that, then I don't think you're going to do this job. I don't think you're going to do this job. But again, I know that we are all capable of doing this, okay? So disrupt. If you're on radio, disrupt. If you are in person, disrupt. Even if you get a chance, any chance that you get to speak, anywhere, even if it's a meeting and you raise your hand and you're going to say, ask yourself, am I disrupting people's thinking, people's mindsets? Am I causing them to come to a halt and ask themselves deeper, bigger questions, lengthy questions about where they are, where they would want to be, because we link them to who they would want to be. Okay, from where they are right now, you are giving them a roadmap to where they would want to be. Now, you're not spoon feeding them. You're telling them, hey, wake up. You can do this, okay? I'm not going to run for you. You are going to run for yourself. Crawl if you must, walk if you must, fly if you must, do whatever it takes. But think forward, fall forward, go forward, okay? Now, that is a disruptor. That not a person who says, but now what do you think? Okay, now we are going to talk about how to make it in life. Okay, now how we make it in life is by making sober decisions. And sometimes we give people theory that doesn't have any action points. And someone is like, what do I do with this information? What do I do with this information? So if your information has nothing like an action point at the end of it all, then you have not helped. So that means how you sequence and how you prepare what you are going to speak is you have examples, you have, the points that you want to make, but you have an action, a call to action at the end so that someone can say, in my meeting with so-and-so, these are my call to actions. These are immediate things that I can put into action right now that can actually get me to where I want to get. Okay, so you are a disruptor, and I want that to actually sink in. Our time is fast spent, and we are on a road of continuous growth, continuous change. Now, I don't want you to get to a place and be complacent and say, I have reached, I have arrived. No, there is no arriving in this arena. No arriving. We learn, we grow, we do everything to the last breath. Okay, to the last breath. This is what you signed up for. You signed up for a huge thing, my friend, okay? So if this is your calling, there is nothing like resting. There is nothing like I am old. There is nothing like Smanya, I'm expecting. No, the same energy you use when you're not expecting is the same energy you bring to the table when you are expecting, when you are 9 months, okay? And the same energy that you bring in when you are healthy is the same energy that you bring when you are sick, because people don't want to know what's happening in your life, okay? Yes, I want you to take good care of yourself. I believe in self-care and self-love so much. But again, if we are going to pick in order to pick, now the pick that I'm talking about is the PEAK, okay? In order to pick, to peep, okay? You can't peep if you're not at a higher altitude. How are you going to see the good of the world? For example, when I think the Bible says that, the whole world and everything in it belongs to God, to actually disrupt me. I don't. So I want you to transform. You cannot see the good things in life unless there is a growth in you. Now, you pick in order to pick. And when you pick, then you gain more momentum. Have you ever seen good things, okay? When you see a good thing, there is a way it encourages you and you want to do more. You want to go far. So I want you to have that kind of growth mindset, okay? And then, most of us are operating under the constraints of where we grew up from, the things that we know and the things that have not worked. So you're thinking, if this didn't work, maybe it will not work, and it will not work. So we sometimes don't embrace or we don't take on new tasks because we already knew the outcomes, or we already know what happened. So we think what happened is actually going to happen again. And so we limit ourselves and work within the constraints. And that's not going to help anyone. It's until you break out of the constraints that you are actually, so you dream one. Okay. So we are in the business of helping. We are in the of creating solutions. Good. In case you have any remaining question, please put it down. Becca, I'm part of today's live chat. Been down struggling with COVID-19, but thank God I made it. Oh, good to have you, and we are glad that you made it. Joseph, I'm humbled to be part of this live this evening. We appreciate you, Madam Hilda. Thank you. Jem Kakembo, no arriving. Exactly. Please give us some brief performance appraisals, and thanks again. I'll make sure that we look into that on the different groups, okay? Especially in Gladiators Phase 2. And Christine, you're saying, so Rebecca. And Zaitun, you're saying, about where do I start? Ladies and gentlemen, we are disruptors. You want people to have better relationships. You want them to bring up better, healthier children. You want them to, their mental health to be part of their priority. You have to disrupt their mind, okay? Don't tell them the same things they've had over and over again. Your approach has to be different. And if you're not going to make a difference, then it's better we keep quiet. But if we're going to make a difference, then it's better we dig deeper to the labels. And when I talked about the restraints that we work under, then we think because I'm a woman, or because I'm young, or because I don't have money. And today, if you listen to the program, we said what you need is actually not money. What you need are the social capitals, okay? That means when you were young and you were constrained, you were restrained and told never to speak when people are speaking, never to do this, never to do that. You know those things of boxing us in? And most times we walk even through life, we become so shy. We don't want to open up new horizons. We don't want to talk to strangers. We don't want to open up new doors of opportunity. And then we expect we are going to grow. So we want to cautiously undo those things, dig down and see to it and say, okay, I have done this for so many years. Where does it come from? I have been shy and held back. I have, I don't smile. I don't easily, network. I don't easily talk to people. Where is it coming from? Is it my personality trait? If it's my personality trait, how do I improve myself? Do I just go and, bump into people and speak to them? Yes, that is doable. So I want you to be able to set yourself some targets, okay, as we end the year, because you cannot end the year the same and then begin the year the same. No, how you put on last year or this year is not the way you're going to put on next year. And maybe where the kind of money you've had this year is not the kind of money you should have, not by any chance. Next year, 2020, things are different. Even the economy itself is actually throwing out people, okay? The prices are going to be different. So I want you to look at the world in a new dimension, in a different perspective, and know that if I'm supposed to help, I must strategically be positioned. I must have the social capital, and I must live away the constraints that I had put around my life, and be able to break down the barriers and be able to go beyond, run beyond the leash that was put on me. Some of us, the leash was to call you not beautiful. Some of you, the leash was to put you down every time you said something. And so now you cannot even raise your hand in a meeting. You can't contribute. When they invite you to speak, your heart pumps like it's going to come out. My God, I know it's not easy, but I want us to live the best life that we can ever, and it's very possible. I'm a living testimony to that, and that is why I passionately speak about it, because I know it is possible. If you're only consistent, if you give in your best work, if you show up every day, okay, and if you don't live in a box. Kick the box. Don't just say, I'm working outside the box. No, kick the box and throw it away. And be, hanging and survive and fight, okay? But remember, we said, for those of you that started with us, that we have to fight to get everything. We might not get everything that we want, but again, everything that we are going to get, if you take anything away from this live chat, Everything that you're going to get is going to be through a fight, okay? Nothing is going to come on a silver platter. The growth, the brand awareness, the people getting to invite you to their events, that is going to be you fighting for your territory, you monopolizing your territory, bringing your uniqueness to the game. But if you want to be the same as everyone else, let me say what everyone says. Let me be the same coach that everyone, let me be very understanding. Let me be, no, 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 no. How I monopolized mine is being by being a no sense kind of coach. I was like, no, you just don't come nobody there because if you know, okay, let's start somewhere, okay, and. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time, listening to small talk and doing, all these things. I will tell you what I need to tell you when I need to tell it to you. And if you don't like me, so be it. And people learned that, by the way, when you go to, okay, okay, just the last one, thoughts in our speeches is my take home. Great. New era is possible. Kick the box. Thanks, coach. I'm learning that there's nothing new really, but the authenticity, uniqueness I bring on the topic makes it new to the listener and very impactful. Okay. So, let me just stop here for tonight. It's been nice having a chat with you, and I hope we can have the same chat next week. I know I will be out of the country, but I'm going to make sure that I coordinate the time in order to be able to be with you at 8 p.m. so that we can have another chat, answer a bit of more questions, and still talk about how do we end the year strong and how do we establish unbreakable brands, okay? Brands that grow every day and brands that bring change to the world, okay? I want us to grow together. I don't want to leave anyone behind, and you should not leave anyone behind as well, okay? Let's grow and let's make the best of the time that we have. Otherwise, from me to you is a good night and bye-bye.